Hello, happy Tuesday everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It is later than I usually film. I've had quite a busy day, so this isn't going to be a very big introduction before I jump into crafting with you all. I kind of just wanted to say though that I was feeling a bit, I was super tired yesterday as I talked about, but I'd actually woken up at 4:30, not 5:30, so I'd had even less sleep than I thought that I'd had, which explains why I was feeling so out of it and so kind of loopy. So I hope I didn't seem too strange. But yeah, I was feeling a bit like I didn't really know what I was talking about and what I was doing, and I was kind of like not completely present or something, and yeah, I just felt loopy. Anyway, speaking of loops, let's make some loops with crochet, because you know, you use the hook to pull loops of yarn through. Well, here we are. I hope you have all of your crafting things ready to go to craft along with me. Unless you've already started, of course, which is lovely. I have some things here, obviously. Today we are going to be making the simple origami bauble, which is a pattern by Esther Chandler, whose website is Make My Day Creative. These are actually some that I made quite a few years ago now, using the leftover bits I had of a bamboo wool yarn. I actually don't think I had quite enough to finish them off, and I thought that somewhere inside one of these I had to use another yarn just to do the last little bit, but maybe not. Anyway, it's hidden, you can't see it. I really like these. They're actually just like fun little balls, and if I knew how to juggle, I would totally juggle with these. They don't have any weight to them, just yarn weight. I don't know if juggling balls need weight. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents and I haven't even started crafting. I think these are really fun to make. I think they look really fun. I do think that the way that she has them in the pattern, where each layer that you do is a different color, maybe might look nicer, or like sort of be a nicer effect, in my opinion, than these ones. These are kind of just all over the place, and you don't really get the sense of the pattern as well as you do when you're using a different color for each layer. I'm still really happy with these. Ooh, see that brown there? I knew it. That's some of the yarn where I had completely run out of this yarn, so I popped in another bamboo yarn that I have. Let's hide that back in there. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I really should attach some loops or some hooks to these to make hanging them easier, because I kind of just try to place them somewhere in the tree where they're not gonna roll off, but they often do because they need to hang. Anyway, that's those. I have this here as well, just to show you some of the yarn that I'm going to be using today. These were some leftovers that I had of an acrylic yarn from Spotlight. Marvel Magic Stripes is the yarn, and this was me trying out a planned pooling crochet technique that I also really enjoyed, and I want to find another yarn to do a proper actual thing with, because this is not of a size that can really be used for anything. But you can kind of, well, I mean, you can't really see the self-striping effect because of how the pattern is, but you can see how the colors sort of play together. When I made this, I thought that I had used up everything that I had left of this yarn, but the other day when I was looking through my basket of old swatches, I found more bits and pieces of the same yarn. This is a different colorway that hasn't been used down here, and I love this colorway. This was probably my favorite colorway of the set of yarns that I had gotten. I think they will make really nice baubles. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? And let's start with this one here. So, oh, I was going to say as well, I made these ones with 4mm hooks, but I do feel that they are a little bit on the dense side. So I have here a 4.5 and a 5. Let's go with, let's just try 4.5 for now. So as usual, if you have been watching my Vlogmases previously, I am not going to fully explain what I'm doing. This is not a tutorial. I am, oopsies, making a mess of things is what I'm doing. Let me just get started. 1, 2. All right. I am, yes, this is not a tutorial. I am following someone else's pattern, which is a free pattern, but I'm not going to explain how to do it. If you would like to make one of these, which I think you should if you enjoy crochet and think they are nice looking. I wonder, making that into my little basket. Haha, fun. Yeah, you can go and find this pattern and follow those instructions and make it yourself. How do you do a thingamy again? Is it like this? I should have. I have forgotten. I've forgotten how to do stitches. Bear with me. I had to go and remind myself how to work the stitch because I'm not a crocheter and I always have to look everything up when I start doing a new crochet project. And having to look that up actually reminded me that the designer of this lovely pattern actually has a video tutorial to make this lovely pattern. So if you would like a video tutorial, don't watch me, go and watch their channel. I assume that they are Make My Day Creative on YouTube as well, but I don't know that for sure, but I'll probably link that as well as the pattern itself in the show notes down below so that you can have yourself a squiz without having to go too much hunting around yourself. Today I went for a fair walk and we went to the shops and stayed for a coffee, caught up with my partner's mum, did a little bit of shopping. So when we left for our walk initially, it wasn't super warm. It's not a super warm day today, but the UV rating index thing, whatever you call it, it was only on like a 6. So we were bad and lazy and didn't put on hats and sunscreen. And then when we were walking home, the UV had jumped up to 11, even though it still wasn't very hot, which was kind of annoying. This variegated yarn kind of makes it hard to see to differentiate my stitches, so I can't. Oh, I can kind of, okay, I've just got to do some counting. That was pretty lucky. I actually had the right amount. Woohoo! This is still feeling like dense to me, so I'm actually going to start again on the 5. No, I won't start again, I will leave that, but I will carry on using the 5mm needle. Let's pull that magic loop tight. Just double checking the instructions. Yeah, so like I said, I am not really familiar. I don't crochet that often. I am not all that proficient at it. So there may be more pauses in this as I read instructions and sort of try to pay attention to what I'm doing a bit. Although it's going well so far, but I did have to have a good long pause there just to read the next line of instructions and make sure I knew what I was doing for this next round. Hope that's all right. It would be so fantastic if each layer of this bauble ended up being a different color of, what have I done? Being a different color of one of the colors that are in these balls of yarn, but I don't think it's going to work out that way. But I still don't think it's going to be as, it's not going to have as much variation as with the previous baubles that I made, because the repeats on, the color repeats on that yarn were a lot, they were shorter color repeats, so that you weren't really getting stripes in the same way as what this yarn was giving. And I have considered doing a little bit of cheating, and with with each subsequent layer making sure that I am on a different color so that I can get that effect that I like. But we shall see, we shall see. I would really like to use all of this up, so I would very much prefer to not waste any of the yarn. So if I do have to cut off like small amounts of yarn just for the sake of getting the colors in the spots that I want them, I don't really think that that's worth it. I wonder how many baubles I'll even actually get out of this amount of yarn that I have. And I can feel in my fingers that the density of the fabric with the 5mm hook does feel like a lot less dense. The density is less dense. Very scientific. But that could also actually be because it is just less dense. There aren't as many stitches being packed into the area. I don't know. It's a possibility. But yes, we walked home when the UV was 11. We didn't have sunscreen. We didn't have hats. Thankfully though, it wasn't actually really hot. There was quite a nice cool breeze and lots of shade on the path that we were walking. I don't know how the UV was that high. So I think we're going to be okay, really. But we have a little in-joke between us whenever I get sort of overheated from the sun, which I do quite easily because I have black hair, which just attracts the heat. I feel like I've done something wrong. No, I haven't. Let me just count again and then I'll finish that thought. Anyway, yes, yeah, so my black hair attracts the heat really easily, and so my partner's always asking if I'm cooked, if I'm feeling cooked from the heat. And then if I say that I'm cooked, he'll say, "Oh no, this is the most cooked that you've ever been in your life." And he says that every time. Actually, he'll say that even when I say I'm not cooked. He'll just try to make a joke out of it and tell me that I am cooked. I actually think I'm gonna run out of this. Ooh. I'm gonna be a stickler and be really boring and annoying and just start this again from the other end of that this tiny little scrap of yarn, just so that I can have this lovely green on the outside instead of this dark blue that you can see here. It wouldn't be one of my videos though if I wasn't constantly starting over. Well, not constantly. Come on, get in there. 1, 2. But if I didn't have to start something over, I feel like that's not really me. I wouldn't mind if this dark color was one of the layers on the inside, like one of these layers on the inside and not the end ones. But for some reason I just feel like the top and the bottom of the baubles ought to be bright. Because the thing with the dark ones is that is harder to see against the dark green of the Christmas tree, of the so-called pine needles. Well, pine needles, just fake pine needles. Although we are considering moving to a... Did I talk about this? We're considering switching to getting a real tree or to decorating a branch. I have a feeling I've talked about this. This feels like a deja vu. This yarn is so dark, it's so hard to see and count my stitches. What a mess of yarn I have made for myself. Oh well. I have a feeling I haven't left myself quite a long enough tail there. But we shall see, we shall see. When you do a slip stitch, that doesn't count as a chain, right? That's just a slip stitch. I don't know. I don't think it really matters for this particular pattern. But this center ring, round, whatever you call it, that I have done does feel less dense than the previous one that I had made in the 4.5mm hook. So I'm glad that I have switched up to the 5. I actually reckon I could totally move up to a 5.5 or even a 6. But but I don't think it matters too much, really. Plus, because crochet tends to just really eat up yarn, the bigger needles I use, the more paranoid I will be that I will have to play some yarn chicken again, which I would rather not have to do. I may actually have one more little swatch of this yarn, but I used it to practice putting in studs, I think, so I wouldn't be able to retrieve a unbroken length of, well, the whole middle of it actually. I could probably get a decent length of unbroken yarn, but I would imagine that where the studs were hammered in, that the yarn has been cut through by the stud. But really I would rather not have to go through that fuss and bother. So hopefully I will have enough here. I do have some plain white acrylic yarn that I could have used for the top and bottom rings of this bauble, just to make sure that, you know, as I was saying, if I really want the top and bottom of these baubles to be a light color to stand out against a tree, then the smart thing probably would have been to do that, to use a purely light color, so that I didn't need to bother with fussing around like I have done, of making sure that the color that I want is on the outside of this thingy-mabob. Yeah, I don't crochet that often, but I do enjoy it when I do it. It's just, it's so quick. I enjoy how quick it is. Or, you know, it feels quick. It's totally easier to count my stitches too now that I'm using a bigger hook. So that's pretty great. I am doubly glad that I have done that. Now let me pause while I read the next set of instructions. I also could actually, if I really wanted to, I could unravel this pooling sample thing that I have made to get some more of this yarn and some more like fun bright colors to use if I really wanted to. Oh, I don't know if you could hear that. My partner was just calling out that it is dinner time. So I will finish this ring and go have dinner and come back to you. Let's hurry things along. It would help if I didn't keep forgetting what I'm up to. I feel like there was something else that I was going to say about crochet, but I can't remember now. I feel like when I come back to finish this off, I ought to get some locking stitch markers just to help me keep my place. Because I can see, or I already am, getting so easily lost with what I'm doing. He's coming upstairs. He paused because he heard me say that. And now he's looking at me. I'm just finishing this ring. I think I've mentioned in another one of these Vlogmases as well that we do light and easy. So it's not like I need to help with cooking or anything like that. It's just chucking food in the microwave, which does give me a few minutes of crafting time while he heats that up. But I don't want to linger unnecessarily. I am actually worried that this little ball of yarn isn't going to be enough. I think I'm going to be playing yarn chicken. And if that is the case, if one of these balls isn't enough to make a single bauble, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to actually start over again, make these out of 4.5 using the 4.5 millimeter hook, not out of the 4.5 millimeter hook. And even then I may still need to bring in another yarn. Be enough. We're nearly there. I think it's going to be enough. I think it's going to make it. But I do think I will need to source some other yarn. But I can just see how I go to, see how far all of this gets me. And if I do need to add in the white or anything else, then that can just be the final disc at the top. Alright, that's one disc done. I actually I have quite a bit left, so I'm just going to leave that tail long and I will come back after dinner. Ooh, here we are again. I have had my dinner, and in the interest of not making this ridiculously long, I have gone ahead and made a few more layers of this bauble. So let me keep going with you. And I have to say that the very first part of this section requires a bit of concentration, and I forgot that I wanted to grab myself a stitch marker. Give me one sec. Alright, got myself a stitch marker and let's go. What have I done? One of the other benefits of me going ahead and making the other sections there off camera is that I I am going to finish this because I need to count, and then I will finish that thought. Okay, hope I counted correctly there, and I'm just going to chuck this stitch marker into this last chain here, in the hopes that I will not have to count constantly in my head and I can talk to you guys. Now, what was I saying? Is this what I was saying in the no? My map is slipping. Seriously, what was I saying? Oh yes. One of the benefits of having done a few more of these sections off camera is that I was able to get a feel for what I am doing, and I will hopefully not need to stop as much and reread the pattern because I'm just repeating the rounds that I have made previously. And I was able to just sort of refresh my memory on how to do certain bits and pieces of this. It is a pretty simple but quite clever design, so if you are interested in crochet, I really recommend this pattern. I think it's a great one to do. A little bit of fiddliness and complexity to it, but well worth the reward. I am just struggling now because I'm trying to poke my hook into a very tiny little stitch, and sometimes it's just fiddly. I do think though that I am going to have enough yarn to finish this in this yarn without having to get another little bit of yarn just to finish it off, which is good. You can see by this top ring that I have made there though that I wasn't able to exactly achieve what I wanted, where each ring is just like a solid, like just one color, but that's alright. It's still going to be lovely. If I really want to do that, then what I've really got to do is not use a multicolored yarn. I've just got to use a solid color yarn, and I have plenty of acrylic yarn that is in solid colors. Acrylic yarn isn't my favorite to use. I don't like the impact that it has on the environment and on the communities that are involved in producing it. But sometimes it's just really the most appropriate thing to use. I have a lot of blues, a lot of different shades of blues of acrylic yarn because I crocheted a bluey dress for one of my nieces. Oh, how long ago was that now? I don't know. Last year? The year before? Can't remember. And I struggled to find yarns in the right colors for that one. It was made tricky as well because it needed a few different shades of blue, and so they had to go together correctly, and they had to be the right shades to match the character well enough. If oh, I'm running out there and I'm so close to the end. Let's see if I can just sneak in one more. But yeah, if that one had just been, if it had only required one shade of blue, then I could have probably been a little bit more flexible with my yarn choice, because the shade of blue doesn't have to compare to other shades of blue within the project, and I probably could have gotten away with it. Okay, alright, what am I doing? I need to get in there, do that, do that. Let's pull this tight and let's keep. Alright, this is a bit messy and bulky, but that's really not going to matter in this pattern. But yes, I have acrylic yarns, other acrylic yarns, and I could make a whole bunch of baubles that are just different shades of light blue. And I do actually also have a bit of yellow. These are the yarns that I'm talking about are pure 100% acrylics. So I could throw in a yellow in there if I wanted. But I didn't think that those colors were particularly Christmassy. I think you can kind of see how wavy this ring is that I'm making. I think I probably really ought to have stuck with the the hook size that was recommended for the pattern, and then it wouldn't be so wavy like that. But I didn't, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Waviness kind of suits the pattern, actually. Sorry, I seem to have something in my throat, so please excuse me and all the throat clearing that I'm doing. Okie dokie. This is where it gets fun, or funner. I might run out of this yarn too. This other little bit of yarn that I have joined. I hope not, but let's see. What am I doing? Do I remember what comes next? One handy thing about this is that you can sort of choose where you're going to connect it to the previous piece. So because I have a bit of this blue left, I don't want it to sit on top of the same color section. So I am going to join it where this previous ring is a different color. And I'm doing that handy dandy trick of weaving in, or crocheting in I should say. Would you still say weaving in? But yeah, working in the ends of yarn as I go. There are points through the other rings where I just completely forgot to do that, but hopefully all of those random ends won't be visible. What have I done? Come through. Some of these ones here, they're from finishing the rounds, so those ones aren't necessarily me forgetting to weave in my ends. Not that it matters. You are not the origami bauble police. I don't think I'm going to get in trouble for that. But yeah, usually when I crochet, because I'm so not used to it, I kind of have to count each stitch in my head as I go, or I can get lost very easily, and I have to I have to keep going back and counting, which can be a bit annoying. So usually I'm counting in my head as I work, but because I'm trying to talk to you a little bit and not ignore you completely, I'm trying to use, oh, I forgot to put the stitch marker in. I was going to say I'm trying to use the stitch marker so that I don't have to be counting, and I can just crochet until I reach, I think that's where I started, until I reach the end of the round. But I am very forgetful. And I don't always remember. But yes, such a clever pattern. This one, hats off to you, Esther, Chandler. I've forgotten to do something, so. And the way that you finish off just feels a little bit like magic. To make these round origami bauble shapes. It's quite fun. Did I do that right? Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm totally gonna run out of that color. And I don't. Oh. What have I got here? How much of this blue do I have? Because I don't want to use that. Oh. How frustrating. Alright, we're gonna cut it and we're just gonna fudge and hope. Hope I have enough to finish this thing off. I really thought that I'd have plenty, but now I'm starting to doubt. Okay. All right, maybe just one more. Let's leave that there, and let's pop in a new one. Just to have those ends a little bit closer to the base here, where I can work them in. totally could have done another stitch with that, but that bites me, then that bites me. I was so tired last night that when I started my wind down routine, I tried to read and I couldn't even finish a single chapter because I was so tired and my eyes just kept wanting to close and my mind just kept drifting in and out. And then I went to bed, and usually in bed I have an extra little bit of a wind down routine where I play logic games on my phone, and that usually does get me pretty sleepy, but I couldn't even finish one little puzzle because I was so tired and loopy. I was a lot more tired than I expected to be. But when we were at the shops and having coffees, I had myself a gingerbread latte from Starbucks, and I did not enjoy it as the gingerbread latte that I got more locally to me. So I won't be getting that again. Glad to have tried it once. I like trying new things. I seem to talk about coffee a lot in this Vlogmas series, which is a bit of a surprise to me, myself and I, because I'm not a big coffee drinker. I have a decaf coffee every day, sure, but I'm not really that into coffee, so why am I talking about it so much? I know not. Too many ends here, I'm getting a bit confused. What is this? Oh, that's the end from the previous thingamabob. This stitches in that one. I want to go in this one. Oh dear. Slippery. Slippery yarn. Do that, and then that. So this can go. My little potions there. And oops. This yarn has been a little bit splitty, probably because it was previously a little swatch. All of these were previously some swatches that I had knit up, so it's a little bit untwisted. It's gotten a little bit twisted, excuse me. Okay, last one to go, and I do need to just double check the instructions for this. Okay, so for this one, whoops, that's not, don't need you yet, you can wait over there. We are going to start with this black. I'm looking at these bits of yarn that I have left, and ideally I would have this green and white on the outside of this very last layer, so I feel like I shouldn't start with it. I should start with one of these. Which one? Let's start with this one. I mean, the inside doesn't really matter. You're not going to see it. What was that trick I looked up earlier of doing the magic ring? It was like something like this. Towards the back. Okie dokie. Gonna do some counting. It would be such a shame if I ran just short of yarn. I really hope that doesn't happen. Let's see if I know how to count. Cinch that up, do this, and let's remember, whoopsies, whoop, don't roll away. Let's remember to put a stitch marker here. Okay, what's next? Do. Okay, so, yes, yep, I know what I'm doing. I can't remember if this yarn is still available or if it has been discontinued. It's quite a nice one. I like the striping that it does. I like the mix of having solid colors and I was going to say spotty colors, but they're not really spotty, but you know, speckled, variegated, what would you call it? But I like it. I think it's nice. Oh yeah, I'm worried that I'm not going to have enough yarn for this. This here, I'm going to actually just do a knot. I don't know how to do that magic knot thing that people do to make magic balls, but that is something that I would like to learn. When I do knots, I do try to lose as little yarn as possible. But either way, that's still less than if I was having to weave in crochet in ends. This color kind of makes me think of peppermint, and then it makes me think of a peppermint swirl, even though our peppermint swirls, those red and white candies, they're not these colors at all, but that's what it makes me think of. And oh, that knot was so much easier than all the weaving in I have done. If only I had done that with all of the times I have had to join yarn in this. Oh well, you live, you learn. I will really regret it though if I end up losing yarn chicken. It was easier to do this knot, and it also wasted less yarn. And I really do feel like with crochet that knots hide themselves a lot more within the finished fabric that you make than they do in knitting. Should be the last few here. Okay, stitch marker can go. Oops, tossing it. And let's just count and make sure, shall we? That's not enough. That's not enough stitches. Forgot to do it in the one that the stitch marker was actually in, I think. Let's try that again. Yep, we are good to go. And I just need to double check the pattern again. Okay, yes. So the thing that I could do here, if I really wanted to, is I could break this color off here and just work with this so that my outer ring is all of the color that I like. But I don't even know that I have enough of this color, so I'm just gonna knot it and we'll see. Twist it the right way around, it doesn't work. There we go, that's better. Better. My partner has... Nope, I need to concentrate on what I'm doing instead of telling you stories. Just a little bit. I need to concentrate just a little bit instead of telling you stories. Let's go. In here. And then I can tell you stories once I get this set up. It's not really a story. I was just going to say that my partner has added a new snack to his snacking list. His snacking repertoire is what I was going to say, but that's very silly. He has discovered a new snack. He likes to watch something every night before he comes to bed. That's part of his wind down routine. So while I'm upstairs reading or whatnot, he is downstairs either playing games with his friends or watching something. And he likes to have a bit of something to nibble on while he does that. And we have been really into the Calbee snacks lately. The Harvest Snaps in particular are quite good. He prefers Harvest Snaps, I prefer Hoolies. But at the supermarket, you can really only find Hoolies Waves. There has only ever been one time where I have come across a shop where they had Hoolies, just Hoolies, not Hoolies Waves. And the Hoolies are like onion ring type things. They're really, really good. They were so delicious, but I've never been able to find them again, and it's really sad. Anyway, I was telling you about what my partner has started snacking on lately, and that is Vegemite flavored shapes. If you're not Australian, I don't know if they have shapes overseas, but they're basically like a cracker type thing, would you say? Like a little biscuity type cracker thing. And the normal flavors are, let's see, there's pizza, chicken crimpy. Chicken crimpy is a good one. What are the flavors? Anyway, Vegemite is, I don't know if it's a new flavor or if it's some limited edition flavor thing. And they're not bad, they're pretty good. I have to say though that I don't necessarily think that they taste like Vegemite, in my opinion. But I think they smell like Vegemite. It's one of those things where, you know, your olfactory senses, your nose has a lot, what you smell has a lot to do with. Smell and taste are related, that's what I'm very clumsily trying to say. I didn't actually look at the ingredients on the box to see if they actually use Vegemite or if they just put in like other flavors to try to mimic the taste of Vegemite. Hey, I have a knot. Is that worth undoing? Probably shouldn't have done this, but well, here we are now. There we go. That wasn't too bad, was it? Now, what am I up to? I've sometimes wondered when I do crochet if, well, basically what I'm trying to say is I feel like I make really big exaggerated movements with my hands when I crochet. Like I feel like I'm just like woo 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 with my wrist. But I also kind of feel like I can't do it without all of this twisting that my wrist does. If you're watching and you have Does it look like I am making big exaggerated movements when I crochet, or is this just normal? And I just feel like they're big exaggerated movements because I'm used to that other thing that I do, you know, that other thing, knitting. Am I at the end? I forgot to put that stitch marker in. Oh, what have I done here? Yeah, I'm pretty much at the end. This has worked out really well with the yarn because I was hoping that this last ring didn't get into any of that dark navy color, dark blue color. And it has managed to avoid it, so that is wonderful. Okay, come through you. Okie dokie. Now, how much of this do I want to pull through? Let me just do a bit of reading. Oh, I need a needle. This nice big one with a nice big hole. I want a decent length here. Pull this all the way through. And now we're going to get to some really fun bits. Do I care about this being loosey-goosey? Let's just pull it in to hide it. Come on, in you go. Yes. Nice and hidden. Okay, what was I doing? This end. This end needs to be threaded. See, that thing didn't work for me that time, where you like bend it over the eye of the needle and then push it through. Oh, well, it worked that time. Worked when I asked you to look. Okay, so what we want to do is just a bit of stitchery. And you know what, actually, before I do that little bit of magic, I think I want to weave in these other messy ends so that when we do the magic, it is all done. Don't know how to weave this in, really. Just gonna kind of poke it through, poke it around. Oh, it's still such a long tail, and I kind of can't really be bothered cutting it and just having that scrappy little piece. Just, I don't want to chuck it in the bin, and it isn't really good for anything else. Yeah, just fudge it a little bit. That one's hidden. Alright, let's hide this one. Whoop. I really should get my needle threaders, but I'm clearly being lazy. Oh, actually, I've just remembered that I popped my new beautiful needle threader into this needle case. It's so new that I forgot that it was there. But I'll grab it for the next one. Let's see if that's enough. Not quite, but if we give it a pull, does it hide itself? Oh, why couldn't you just hide yourself? Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, beautiful. Oh, that was so good. So easy. Whoops. So much easier than that other middle one that I've been using, where you have to thread the yarn through the needle threader to have the needle threader be able to thread it. That was just silly. This is probably really boring to watch, so I'm going to do the rest of these weaving ins in silence so that I can fast forward. Alright, just about time for some magic, but I love this needle threader. Yes, I do. Okay, look, isn't this fun? Whee! Anyway, magic. Where's my thing? Here. Pull! Woo! Haha! Look at that! It's just fun to do that. Just like it's fun. Whoopsies. Fun to use my new needle threader. Alright, let's just give you the go around one more time to secure. Okay, and then I shouldn't have undone that. Okay, so now we are going to do this. I think that's what we do. Actually, I don't think that's what we do. I'm going to leave that there for now anyway. And we work the magic on the other side here. I can't remember how I came across this pattern. It was so long ago that I first discovered it. I don't know if I was searching for Christmas things. I don't know if it was on Ravelry's homepage of patterns. Oops. I don't know if I was looking, if I did search for it and find it that way. I don't know if I was looking for Christmas specifically. It's very easy to go down Ravelry rabbit holes. But anyway, there you have it. a lovely little accordion style-ish Christmas bauble. So I'm just messing with it now. I really don't need to. It's done. But you can kind of see how like if each round was a separate color, like you'd kind of see the effect of like this accordion effect a lot more clearly. I feel that's what I feel like anyway. I think what it is as well is that because you can see a bit inside, and you're not only seeing the most outer round like that. I think that does kind of confuse the impression that you get of it as well. So it looks more just like a ball than this clever like origami thing. I mean, you can still see the gaps and stuff. I just feel like the effect is more striking when it's knit with solid colors. So yeah, I wonder if I'll come back and crochet it with solid colors next time. What I will do while I'm here, since I have all of this, is I'm going to make a whatchamacallit loopy loop. I'm going to make the loopy loop in a way that I have seen, I think, on Arn and Carlos's website. I don't know how to start it though, and I can't really be bothered going back and looking. I'm just going to there. I just needed something to pull it through, and basically I'm just going to make a chain as long as I can. And I used the shorter bit of yarn that was attached just because I don't think this chain needs to be that big. That is probably long enough. And then I can't see what I'm doing. It's too curled around itself. I probably should have used the longer bit, really. That's such a tiny little loop. Does the job though. Oh, does it though? Does it do the job? I think I want the longer one. Oh goodness. But I'm totally going to be lazy and just leave the shorter one there. Although what I could do actually is just join them together. But let's see how big of a loop this makes before we make that decision. I think this will be long enough on its own. If you do that, oops, if you think of it being that long, I'm going to join them together. Why not? such a budgie budgie job. But it's just for me, it doesn't matter. I care more when things are gifts for other people. There you go. That's awesome. Ha! Love it! Oh, and I'm just gonna budgily tie knots because I can. But you know what? I will weave these in. Ta-da! Oh, isn't it so cute? It's so nice with that chain. The chain loop. There it is, another little project done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle to make that. It wasn't all a struggle, but I exaggerate. Let's pop you there for now. And open up day 5. The book that I said that I started reading last night is actually The Hobbit, because I sort of wanted to just remind myself of the story and try to like sort of think about colors as I read it. And there was a point where I thought, oh, maybe each yarn represents a different member of the party, but there's only 12 minis in here and then the big one, and there aren't enough because let's see, there is Biffer, Bofer, Bomber, Philly, Killy, Balin, Dwalin, Ori, Nori, Oin, Gloin, Thorin, and Bilbo. 13. I mean, it could have been done, but if it was done that way, I feel like the order isn't right. If I was going to do it where each color was a different member of the troupe, Gandalf wouldn't be there for one, and the previous Fluff and Nonsense one was grey. And I guess, would you make Bilbo the big one? But then also, like, you've got to have Smaug in there somewhere. Maybe Smaug is the big one. Big, yeah, big red one. Anyway, enough blathering on. Let's look at today. I didn't come prepared to show you the rest, but for once... No, I'll get it. I'll get it. I mean, I'm assuming the grey is Gandalf, but it isn't necessarily Gandalf. It could also just be smoke rings or something. I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Today is 5, and today is this color. White. I feel like my light's not great. Yeah, a pale whitey grey. So again, it's like it's graduating from the previous color, which is really lovely. The tonality in this one is so subtle. Like, look at that. Like, you almost don't realize that it's there. It's so like subtle. It's lovely. You know what this makes me think of, actually? That the color of 2026 is like, what is it called? Like dusty clouds or something like that? Anyway, another beauty. There we go. They like flow so nicely across that gradient. And on that note, I will leave you there, and tomorrow is going to be a stitching project. Yes, another stitching project. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.